Top 5 Literary One-Hit Wonders. Number 5. The Bell Jar, Sylvia Plath. Plath is one of the greatest female writers to emerge from the United States. Her poetry is brilliantly written and has a clarity one might not expect from a person so troubled by mental illness. Plath was married to Ted Hughes, the once English poet laureate. She committed suicide by gassing herself at the age of 30. The Bell Jar is American writer Sylvia Plath's only novel, which was originally published under the pseudonym Victoria Lucas in 1963. The novel is semi-autobiographical with the names of places and people changed. The book is often regarded as a roman à clef, with the protagonist's descent into mental illness paralleling Plath's own experiences with what may have been either bipolar disorder or clinical depression. Plath committed suicide a month after its first publication. Number 4. The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. Wilde was an Irish playwright, novelist, poet, and author of short stories. Known for his barbed wit, he was one of the most successful playwrights of late Victorian London, and one of the greatest celebrities of his day. As the result of a famous trial, he suffered a dramatic downfall and was imprisoned for 2 years of hard labor after being convicted of the offense of gross indecency. The novel tells of a young man named Dorian Gray, the subject of a painting by artist Basil Hallward, who is greatly impressed by Dorian's physical beauty and becomes strongly infatuated with him, believing that his beauty is responsible for a new mode in his art. Dorian cries out, wishing that the portrait Basil has painted of him would age rather than himself. Dorian's wish is fulfilled, subsequently plunging him into a series of debauched acts. Number 3. To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee. Nell Harper Lee, born April 28, 1926, is an American novelist known for her Pulitzer Prize-winning 1960 novel To Kill a Mockingbird, her only major work to date. She was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom of the United States for her contributions to literature in 2007. As a child, Lee was a tomboy and a precocious reader, and enjoyed the friendship of her schoolmate and neighbor, the young Truman Capote. To Kill a Mockingbird became instantly successful and has become a classic of modern American fiction. The novel is loosely based on the author's observations of her family and neighbors, as well as an event that occurred near her hometown when she was 10 years old. Lee's novel is widely taught in schools in English-speaking countries with lessons that tie into tolerance and prejudice. The novel addresses themes such as courage, racial injustice, the death of innocence, tragedy, and coming of age, set against a backdrop of life in the Deep South. Number 2. Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger. Salinger is an American author, best known for his 1951 novel The Catcher in the Rye, as well as for his reclusive nature. He has not published a new work since 1965 and has not been interviewed since 1980. The success of The Catcher in the Rye led to public attention and scrutiny. Salinger became reclusive, publishing new work less frequently. He followed Catcher with 3 collections of short stories, 9 Stories, 1953, Franny and Zooey, 1961, and Raise High the Roof Beam, Carpenters and Seymour, An Introduction, 1963. His last published work, a novella entitled Hapworth 16, 1924, appeared in The New Yorker in 1965. Catcher in the Rye is, to date, his only full novel. Number 1. Dr. Zhivago, Boris Pasternak. Pasternak was a Nobel Prize-winning Russian poet and writer, in the West best known for his epic novel Dr. Zhivago. The novel is a tragedy, whose events span through the last period of Tsarist Russia and early days of Soviet Union, and was first translated and published in Italy in 1957. In Russia, however, Boris Pasternak is most celebrated as a poet. Dr. Zhivago tells the story of a man torn between 2 women, set primarily against the backdrop of the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the subsequent Russian Civil War of 1918 to 1920. More deeply, the novel discusses the plight of a man as the life that he has always known is dramatically torn apart by forces beyond his control.